welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to JWF Monday Night Ignition. I'm your host, Silver Spoon, joined as always by the man who's going to be resurrected this Sunday. It's Captain Tibbs.
Only after 4 days.
That is right, Tibbs, because this Sunday, coming to you live, JWF Resurrection, live on the Fight Boys YouTube channel. And Tibbs, we got a heck of a card for the Captain's Championship. Scottye Moore defending against Big Cyrus Crane. We've got the man's man, Chuck Gibbons, hoping to climb that mountain and defeat the King of the Hill, Robert Hill, for the JWF Championship. And we got Val Curry, Aiyana. I mean, this is a stacked card if I've ever seen one.
Of course it is, Sills. We had an amazing WrestlePalooza this year, and it is only fair to follow it up with a fantastic resurrection to start our new season off the right way.
That's right, and one match I did not mention is, of course, the Tag Team Championships, which will be on the line when the team of Hollywood Hulcher and Danny Roanoke, the Roanoke Boys, face off against Bananas and Pajamas. Now, Tibbs, we've seen in the past, they went toe-to-toe at WrestlePalooza, went in the favor of Bananas and Pajamas, but this time, there may prove to be an advantage if Hollywood Hulcher can win this opening bout.
Absolutely, Sills. Winner of this bout, their team gets to choose the stipulation for their match at Resurrection. So, Sills, you know they're going to be wanting this one real bad.
That's right, and as you can see, Hollywood Hulcher taking on Joey Pajamas, one half of each team going at it. That bell goes dinging. Tibbs, look at Joey Pajamas. Immediately beginning the match, showboating around the ring, dancing. Look at this kid.
Sills, I don't know how they're so unstoppable, honestly, but damn it, they keep winning.
That's right, damn idiot doesn't know if he's in a wrestling match or a strip club, but oh, that big uppercut from Hulcher seems to have smartened him up. What do you think, Tibbs? Going off the ropes. Oh, Hulcher dropping down, leapfrog. Oh, beautiful scoop slam, laying out Pajamas, going for an early pinfall as Hulcher won. Oh, Joey kicking out before even the count of two.
Of course it is, Sills. This is a very quick, very fast-paced beginning of the match. It's very interesting seeing Joey without a Johnny.
That is right, but look at this. You can see Hulcher quickly turning things into that abdominal stretch on Joey. But Tibbs, you know if Pajamas has that one thing, it's that wingspan. He's got those big shoulders, and ooh, shows him off right there with that beautiful hip toss before, oh, a massive drop kick to the side of the head. You can see Pajamas now wasting no time before just wrenching back on the neck of Hulcher. And Tibbs, that is a smart move. We know Hollywood Hulcher, he likes to fly around the ring. He likes those big maneuvers. Keeping him grounded might be the wisest move for Joey right now.
I have to agree, Sills, and Joey, he's got the ability to do it. His arms look like they belong only on the Jersey Shore.
That's right, but now look at this Joey. Oh my God, just sending Hulcher's head flying into that mat before. Oh, what is the tag team champion thinking now? Going to the top rope and oh my God! Whip for an elbow drop, but look at that. Hulcher bounced back to his feet, hit a massive drop kick. Both of those men just collided in midair, and now both men are down. Tibbs, now it's just a matter of who can get back to their feet first.
Absolutely, Sills. You got to get back to your feet, maybe go for a cover, but one of these guys has got to wake up.
That's right. You can see Hulcher now finally getting back to his senses, just crawling over Joey, putting an arm over him, can't even hook the leg. 1, 2, oh, barely kicking out is Joey Pajamas after that vicious drop kick in midair. And Tibbs, Hulcher, you can see he looks like he just saw a ghost. He doesn't know what he's got coming next.
Absolutely not, Sills. I think Hulcher thought that this was over now, but it looks like Pajamas has proved different.
That is right, but it looks like Hulcher back to his feet, getting ready to fight him off with a big lariat and a second. Ooh, went for thirds, but Joey ducking under, rushing towards those ropes. But oh my God! Connects with another beautiful drop kick is Hollywood Hulcher. And it looks like Hollywood sending Joey to the outside of the ring before bouncing off the ropes. Tope con hero from Hollywood. But wait, what the hell? Tibbs, that's Johnny Bananas. That's Johnny Bananas, the tag team partner of Joey. He just shoved Hulcher into the ringside steps. The tag partners were supposed to be banned in this match.
Absolutely, he's not even supposed to be out here. That should be a disqualification right there.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like Joey Pajamas getting ready to take advantage of that assault, just dragging Hollywood back into the ring, falling into that pinfall. 1, 2, whoa, Hollywood! Hollywood kicked out! Hollywood kicking out in the last minute, but it looks like Joey not having it, just placing Hulcher's face against that turnbuckle and, just kicking his face off. Oh, but Pajamas backing up for that big leg lariat, that move that has won him the title in the past. But no! Hulcher catches him in midair! Hollywood Hills! Beautiful backbreaker in the center of the ring. Look at the strength of the Hulcher, being able to catch him in that powerbomb position before transitioning into a beautiful backbreaker. Falls into the pinfall. 1, 2, 3, and Tibbs. Just like that, Hollywood Hulcher has earned himself a big opportunity this Sunday because, hey, they get to choose the stipulation for their match at Resurrection.
And it is a well-deserved victory, Sills. The Hollywood Hulcher that was in this company a year ago, he wouldn't have been able to pull that off. But you can see the skill and the strength that he has learned in that last year, and just how effective he can be in singles competition. And Sills, I think that they can bring it to the tag team action.
That is right, but oh, wait a minute, look at this. Looks like Hollywood has grabbed himself a microphone. We may have a message from Hollywood Hulcher. We may not have to wait till Sunday. He may want to let us know what that stipulation is right now.
Oh, man. Hey, Bananas in Pajamas. You know what? If tonight proved anything, it's that I can't keep both of you out of my hair to save my life. I can't keep you out of my business. So that made me realize that this Sunday, I'm not gonna try to keep you out of my business. I'm gonna lock you in with me. This Sunday at JWF Resurrection, Roanoke Boyz versus Bananas in Pajamas inside a steel cage, man.
Well, Tibbs, an emphatic statement right there from Hollywood Hulcher. We are going to see a steel cage match this Sunday as the Roanoke Boyz take on Bananas in Pajamas. And Tibbs, let's not forget, Danny Roanoke, Hollywood Hulcher, those men are no strangers to steel cages. I mean, last year they had an epic best-of-7 series that ended in the heck in a set. Quite possibly, if you took a steel cage, multiplied it by 11, that's what they were in.
Absolutely, Sills. And to Hollywood Hulcher's point, that is going to be advantageous to the Roanoke Boyz, locking Bananas in Pajamas in with them. It's not only going to be affecting to them psychologically, having to fight the Roanoke Boyz constantly. The Roanoke Boyz can just outpace Bananas in Pajamas physically at every turn.
That is right, but talking about a man who has been outpaced every step of the way for these past few weeks, let's talk about our captain's champion, Scottye Moore, a man who had a crowning moment at WrestlePalooza, became the second ever Triple Crown champion in this company's history, but ever since, Scottye has been struggling to get his footing as a champion, and it's all thanks to the man he will be facing this Sunday, Big Cyrus Crane, and his manager, Lawrence Whitney.
Absolutely, Sills. This is gonna be a car crash.
That is right. I mean, we know Big Cyrus has that size advantage, but Scottye is a wily veteran. In fact, last week, Scottye Moore, his influence in that tag team match is what allowed Big Cyrus to be pinned by Chuck Gibbons. Scottye Moore knows those clever workarounds to get what he wants in a match, but if Lawrence Whitney has his way and if Big Cyrus can impose that big figure, it may be all over before he can even begin to celebrate for the captain's champion.
Of course, Sills, we saw last week, it was hard for Scottye Moore to try to get Big Cyrus down. He was trying to attack him directly, and it did not work.
That is right. But for right now, Lawrence Whitney is backstage with one of our top interviewers. So why don't we hear what Lawrence has to say?
Hello everybody, Honeypot McRubberboy here with Big Cyrus Crane, the man who is set to face off against Scottye Moore this Sunday for the JWF Captain's Championship and his manager, Lawrence Whitney. Now Lawrence, you specifically requested this interview time. Can you explain why?
Oh, well, simply to take it away from Scottye Moore, Honeypot. Just so I didn't have to have another episode of this show that was unlistenable because that idiot decided he wanted to come out and ramble on about the good old days of wrestling, or talk about how great his little JXT show is, and try his best to get this idiotic crowd back on his side after years of betraying them and mocking them. But believe me, I'm not as simple-minded as those idiots in those seats, Scotty. I've seen what you are, and I've seen the kind of monster you can be. Which is why I brought my own monster to this fight. Big Cyrus Crane. And this monster will throw you around that ring like a child's plaything, Scotty. This monster will rip you apart and expose you to the world as a fraud, as an imbecile, as a man that's barely worth the gaudy tights he wears to the ring. And after all of that, we won't just be taking your interview time away from you. We'll be taking your JWF Captain's Championship. Because a couple of weeks ago, you said this thing. I really liked it. You referred to yourself as the gateway to the future. And if you're the gateway to the future, Scotty, the future's coming sooner than you think. Well, Tibbs, apparently Lawrence Whitney, we know Lawrence has had a vendetta against Scottye Moore for the longest time. We of course know Scottye Moore, he broke up Lawrence Whitney from his former tag team that he used to manage in the form of the Blockbusters. Scottye Moore then forced him to fight Legion in a 3-on-1 handicap match. We know Scottye Moore can be brutal, and Lawrence Whitney has told him many a time that his check is coming due. But maybe that check is due this Sunday at Resurrection.
And Sills, I couldn't think of anybody better to cash that check on Scottye Moore than Big Cyrus Crane. I think that's what Lawrence Whitney's whole reasoning is behind bringing him in to do this.
That's right, Big Cyrus Crane, the star in our developmental division, came through, absolutely ran a tear through that entire division, becoming the JXT champion, dominating, being undefeated. But speaking of undefeated champions in our developmental territory, why don't we talk about the warrior princess, Aiyana, who, of course, this Sunday will be attempting to claim the JXT Women's Championship from the goddess of the sea herself, Val Curry.
Of course, Sills, this is a match that has been a long time coming. Another rematch, if you will, of JXT. Val Curry versus Aiyana. All the marbles.
That is right, and of course we know the history of these two. Val Curry defeating Aiyana in her first night in the company after Aiyana had been on a wild undefeated streak. And of course Val Curry having this dominant career but never really being able to get one over on Aiyana again. And of course that led to a big chip on her shoulder, and last week Aiyana made it clear, if you don't see it clear this Sunday, if you don't get that chip off your shoulder, that title is coming home to her. And you know something, Tibbs? I got to agree with her.
Yeah, absolutely, Sills. It definitely makes sense. A chip on your shoulder can be a good motivator, but Sills, a lot of times, it's like horse blinders. You can't see the forest for the trees.
That is right, but for right now, Val Curry is in our ring, and after Aiyana's words last week, I'm sure she has a message for the warrior princess. Let's have a listen.
Before I even get going, I'd like to ask my opponent for this Sunday to come out to the ring.
Well, Tibbs, it appears as if Val Curry coming out to the ring, calling out her opponent for this Sunday. I'm not exactly sure what she's getting at, but oh, listen to that. That is the music of the warrior princess, Aiyana, coming out to the ring. And Tibbs, I'll be damned, she looks just as confused as us. Why don't we go down and hear what Val Curry has to say?
No, it's okay. I'm not calling you out here for a fight or a brawl or anything like that. I'm calling you out here to make one thing perfectly clear with you. Last week you stood in this ring and you told the world that I blamed others for my losses. I blamed others for my shortcomings. And I need you to understand that that is far from the truth. Every single loss I take to heart. Every single loss I watch back and I study and I found out what I did wrong. But you also need to realize being a 5'3" woman in a division with giants like you means I got shoved to the back of the line a lot more times than you realized. Even when our coaches tried desperately to get me an opportunity, some prettier, shinier thing would come along and I'd get forgotten again. And that made me realize that I couldn't rely on anyone other than myself to get me where I deserve to be. That made me realize I had to fight harder and withstand more punishment than anyone else on that roster. I realized I had no choice. I had no choice but to fight my way to being unforgettable, an option you never had to worry about. No, you're the 6-foot-tall warrior princess. You were the Goliath of our division, and no one ever had to worry about overlooking you, did they? You see, last week, you told me to get rid of this chip on my shoulder or else I'd lose this title, but you don't understand. This chip on my shoulder is why I won this title in the first place. This chip on my shoulder here, it reminds me that no matter how hard I fight, and no matter how much I endure, there will always be someone like you there to try and overshadow me and take my spot. This chip on my shoulder represents grit. It represents determination. It represents exactly why I deserve this belt on my shoulder. So this Sunday at Resurrection, be prepared to feel exactly how I felt our entire time in developmental. Small, insignificant, merely a stepping stone in the path of a real champion.
Well, Tibbs, Val Curry making it clear right there. Everything that Aiyana did to Val Curry in developmental is about to get done to her tenfold at Resurrection. And let me tell you something, that is going to be some brutality in that ring between those two.
I have to say so, Sills. I mentioned before, a good chip on your shoulder can be a hell of a motivator. And if Val Curry is using that chip on her shoulder like that, then she has a clear path to victory.
But speaking of a man who's had a chip on his shoulder, Tips, why don't we talk about Gozzie, the Nightmare, a man who for the entire year, ever since he debuted last year at Summerfest, has been struggling to get his footing, and he's been blaming everybody else. And now, of course, we know at WrestlePalooza, the debuting Papa Bliss came out, and Gozzie saw that as an insult. Saw that as, I've worked all year to get in this match, and Papa Bliss just gets inserted to it, and ever since, Gozzie's been taking out that aggression on Papa Bliss.
Well, Sills, Gozzie has got to learn that he's got to take responsibility for his own actions and his own fuck-ups. For as long as he keeps blaming other people, trying to attack them, using the underhanded tactics, he's never going to get anywhere in this company.
That's right, but of course, you remember last week, Gozzie facing off against the Jebeduk, that match ending in a DQ when Gozzie assaulted the Jebeduk with that fire extinguisher before spraying it in the face of Papa Bliss, who had came out to save his old JXT comrade. And then Gozzie just absolutely brutalized Papa Bliss in our entranceway.
Of course, Sills, a horrible sight to watch. Gozzie and Papa Bliss, they used to be a wonderful tag team together in JXT. They worked really well together, but they had a falling out, and Gozzie just can't seem to forgive the guy.
That's right, but Papa Bliss is backstage right now with one of our top interviewers, so why don't we hear what the Big Papa has to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Dad backstage here with a man who's been in the sights of the Nightmare Gozzie in the past few weeks, Papa Bliss. Now, Papa, last week, Gozzie made it very clear that he would go to any lengths to assault you in that ring. I gotta know, how do you respond to this?
You know, a lot of people come to the main roster to get titles, to earn gold, to get that WrestlePalooza main event. But not me. I came here because of one man and one man only, Gozzie. And look, I know a couple of weeks ago I told Gozzie I was mad. I wasn't mad at him. I was just disappointed, right? Disappointed in the wrestler he had become. Disappointed in the actions he takes in the ring. Disappointed
and how he carries himself. But Gozzie, I'm not gonna lie to you, kid. You've beat me down in this ring, you've abused me, and you've tried to end my career by snapping my arm. I ain't disappointed anymore, son. I am one pissed off Papa Bliss, and I'm done dealing with you the nice way. I'm done with talking. You see, you made it clear you ain't listening, and you made it clear you want to fight. So this Sunday in Resurrection, Papa Bliss ain't coming to talk. He's coming to fight. And Gozzie, I'm gonna give you some good, old-fashioned corporal punishment when I take my foot and crack it against your skull over and over and over again. I'm gonna beat you into this mat, and I'm going to decimate you until my words can finally press into that thick skull of yours, and you'll listen to me. Because this Sunday, I'm not beating you down for a pinfall. I'm not beating you down for a submission. I'm beating you down until you refuse to stand. I'm beating you down until you cannot move. I'm beating you down until Papa Bliss is the last man standing. And when it's all said and done, and you can't move anymore, it'll be time for Papa to teach you a thing or two. Well, Tibbs, you know, Papa Bliss, he always comes to the arena looking happy, looking charming. A wholesome man is Papa Bliss, but you can see just off that interview, Gozzie has taken this too far.
Of course, Sills. Now listen, when you're a dad, when you're a father to your core, you have to understand that you got two gears to be in. And Papa Bliss, he just shifted into high gear, buddy.
That is right. That is going to be an absolutely epic last man standing match coming this Sunday at Resurrection. But hey, the biggest match on that card, Robert Hill versus Chuck Gibbons, the man's man versus the king of the hill. And on the line is the biggest prize in the business, the JWF World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, Sills, this is gonna be... I might have said that Scotty Moore versus Big Cyrus was a car crash earlier. If that's right, this is a train explosion.
That's right. And Tibbs, let's not forget, let's look at the past year. A year ago, these men weren't even in this company. We, of course, know Robert Hill debuting at Summerfest, Chuck Gibbons debuting earlier this year at the Regal Rumble. I mean, both of these guys have had such banner years that they're going to be competing in the main event, and they haven't even hit their anniversary yet.
Of course, Sills. Listen, game recognized game here in the JWF, and both of these gentlemen, they have a very different style of game, but a lot of it.
That's right, but of course, like I said earlier, Chuck Gibbons last week with a big win, pinning Big Cyrus Crane during a tag match, which also featured Robert Hill and Scottye Moore. And of course, Robert Hill, he prides himself on rarely being defeated in matches, prides himself on being unpinned and unsubmitted. And while he wasn't pinned or submitted, he was defeated last week. And you know that has to be itching in the King of the Hill's craw.
I have to say so, Sills, being in a losing effort, especially as champion, and as somebody who is as dominant as Robert Hill is, it's gotta be getting at him, you know?
That's right, and Robert Hill is in our ring right now, so why don't we hear what the King of the Hill has to say?
So all week, Chuck Gibbons has been going around backstage saying that the mystique surrounding Robert Hill is gone. He's saying that he proved last week that I can be beaten when he dropped that fat-ass Cyrus Crane onto his head and pinned him down and fed me my first loss, if that's what you want to call it, as champion. Let me tell you something right now, boy. I don't give a damn about no win-loss records. I've had bullshit losses like that in the past, and as far as I'm concerned, they don't mean a goddamn thing. The sheer fact of the matter is, this Sunday, you can't win by count-out, Chuck. You can't win by DQ, and you can't take this title away from me no matter how hard you try. You see, last week, Chuck, you got to do what you do best. You got to run circles around the fat-ass punks that can't make it up the stairs without getting blown up and gassed out. You got to out-wrestle a guy whose biggest obstacle up until now was trying to get through the door of a damn Waffle House without trying to suck in his gut. You got to do what Chuck Gibbons does. Well, this Sunday, Chuck, I get to do what Robert Hill does best. And that's beat the living hell out of whatever sack of crap decides to step up to me and try to take me down. Because believe me, Gibbons, if you rewatch that match last week, I was in it for only a couple of minutes. And every single minute of that match was dedicated to causing you the most pain I could in every way possible. To take you to the deepest, darkest place I could. And that was only a preview of what awaits you this Sunday. Because there will be no resurrection for the career of Chuck Gibbons after this. Just the biggest burial this company has ever seen.
Well, Tibbs, if you want to talk about emphatic statements ahead of a title defense, I think Robert Hill just made one right there. I mean, if I was Chuck Gibbons right now and that beast was in my way, I don't know what I would be doing.
You know what, Sills? They say that Robert Hill, he can only do one thing, and that's beat people up. But I think that they forget the fact that he can also terrify the living shit out of half the people on this planet by just looking at him.
That's right, but wait a minute. Looks like it's a good thing I'm not Chuck Gibbons, because what Chuck Gibbons is doing tonight is getting Robert Hill from behind. Beautiful suplex, and a second, and a third. Chuck Gibbons has just stormed the ring, and he is taking Robert Hill to the suplex barn.
And Sills, that is it. That'll tell you exactly who Chuck Gibbons is right there. He is not afraid.
That's right, but it looks like he's not done. He's not done. He's setting up for the Olympic slam, but no. Ooh, big shot to the back from Robert Hill. And Tibbs, look at that. Robert Hill just rolled out of the ring. Robert Hill's escaping up the ramp. Usually that's where Robert would try to cause some punishment, but instead, if you had to ask me, it looks like Robert might be running scared.
I don't know, Sills. It definitely looks like Robert Hill does not want to do anything with Chuck Gibbons in this ring right now. And I don't know if that's more an act of cowardice or if he wants to save all the pain for Sunday.
That is right, but what an epic brawl to lead us into this Sunday's Resurrection pay-per-view. We've got Big Cyrus Crane versus Scottye Moore, Val Curry, Aiyana, Roanoke Boyz versus Bananas and Pajamas in a steel cage, Bliss, Gozzie, last man standing, and of course, as we just saw, Gibbons versus Robert Hill, and the only place to get it is on the Fight Boyz YouTube channel. Boyz, of course, spelled with a Z. Tibbs, let me tell you something. This is an absolutely banger of a pay-per-view we've got coming this Sunday.
Of course, Sills. And you know what? I pride myself on this pay-per-view doing what JWF does best. Keeping it fresh, keeping it easy, and keeping it lean.
That is right. But until next time, remember to support us at patreon.com/aloadofbs or pick up merchandise for your favorite superstars at merch.aloadofpurebs.com. But until next time, he's been Captain Tibbs, I've been Silver Spoon, and this has been JWF Monday Night Ignition. And we will see you next time.